What's up, YouTube? Okay, today we're going to try to weld some stuff. Specifically, I'm going to try to weld some aluminum. It's been a long time since I've welded aluminum. I'm going to have a bunch of baked-in excuses. I haven't cleaned out the inside of the tubes. My fit-up might not be the greatest. Blah, blah, blah. The point is, I'm going to try and get some of this aluminum welded up. I have all the intercooler piping tacked together. I had the different fittings on the intercooler tacked together. So I got plenty to weld up. Figured today is a good day to get into that. So I'm going to get set up here. I think I'm going to try and do some test pieces first before I just dive into the good stuff. I'll bring you along and show you what I'm doing. This is not going to be a tutorial by any means. I am not a great welder, but I'll show you what I'm doing just so you have an idea. Let's see what we could do. All right, we're going to see how this works. I'm going to get the torch set up for aluminum. Right now, this is my stainless steel setup. So this is a GLS. I think it's a number 16 gas lens. You can see it's got screen in there. It gets like a real good wide dispersion of the gas. You don't really want that on aluminum. Plus, this is Teflon, and it would melt, I believe, if I used it on aluminum. This came from Monkey Fab Garage. I'll put a link down in the bottom for his website and his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of good welding tips and tricks on there, plus some good fab work. Has lots of good product on his website. I've used a lot of his stuff. I'll talk about it as I get to it. But for now, let's get this changed over to an aluminum setup. Okay, now that my heater's shut off, I can kind of go over this stuff with you. So here I have kind of my stainless steel setup. Again, this is a GLS Fab gas lens. What they mean by a gas lens is this. So your gas comes through this screen. I don't think this is going to focus, but you get the idea. The gas comes through the screen, which diffuses a lot better than what you normally have, which is this, which just has a bunch of holes around the outside. Your tungsten comes through the end here. Again, this is the cup. This is a number 16 GLS Fab cup. Big screen inside there. Tungsten comes out of the center, so you can get pretty good stick out on this, which is really nice when you're doing inside corners and stuff like that on tubing. This thing came in really handy. It definitely made my welds look like I had some kind of clue what I was doing. For comparison, this is a number 5 lens for aluminum. I mean, it could be for anything, but this one I'm going to use on aluminum, just a ceramic cup. Even comparing a number 8 ceramic to this 16, it's a huge difference. I mean, these things are real big. But like I mentioned before, this is Teflon, so it can't handle the AC welding for aluminum. So I had to change out to the normal ceramic cup. For my tungsten, I'm using 2% lanthanated. I'm probably saying that wrong. This stuff is 3/32, and I have 2 here because I have 2 different grinds from my tungsten grinder. Again, it's probably not going to focus, but this is kind of a more tapered angle. This is a little bit more sharp, more like a 45, let's say. I'm going to try them both, see what it does. Hopefully, one of them kind of does a little bit better than the other. I'll show you my tungsten grinder later. But for now, let's get this back assembled and go from there. So first off, we're going to try this more tapered end. See if that works. Not very much stick out, very little. This might actually be too much, but I'm going to do some test passes before I get too crazy. Again, it's been a long time since I've done aluminum, so better safe than sorry. I don't want to ruin my parts that are fitted up nice. So we'll see how this setup goes. Okay, let's kind of look at the setup here a little bit. For now, I'm just going to test out with some spare pieces I got. These are both factory cuts. One thing with aluminum, you want to be very clean. So a little bit of acetone on some paper towel, wipe down the outside and the inside. This is 16 gauge aluminum from Motion Raceworks. Pretty nice stuff. When I'm talking about cleaning, I'm also talking about cleaning the electrode and the filler rod. This came off of the filler rod that's brand new in the package. Filler rod here, Blue Demon, what is it, ER 5356, 332nd. That's what I'm going to try to use today. The welder is a Hobart Easy TIG 165i. It's an inverter welder. It's an inexpensive welder. Doesn't have anything fancy. Set it to AC, set my amperage. I'm going to try and start a little over 90. I might need to go higher, but we're going to try that out, see how it goes. Gas, I'm shooting for maybe a little bit under 20 CFH. I am grounded out to the bench right here, and we're going to see how this goes. What I'm trying to do here is figure out my positioning and everything. You want to be comfortable. That's kind of a key thing. And I'm also trying to make sure I could get my tungsten as close as I can to the part, and that as I rotate around, I could keep my torch angle correct. That's always a hard thing for me. I'm not very great at it. I'm working on it, which is why I'm practicing. So I'm trying to kind of pre-plan my route, get a little bit of muscle memory of getting everything square, straight. This is probably not going to be the best. I was wondering if I should turn it, but again, this is just practice. Try and make my parts look as good as I can. You don't want to, I know I keep kind of coming out, and that's what I want to avoid. You want to keep it as close as you can and keep that rotation going. I don't necessarily have to go tack to tack. I'm going to try to, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm going to give it a shot. Not my worst welds, not the greatest. You could see the second start stop. I didn't really have a good torch angle, so it started kind of getting wider, and the beads were a little bit close. But that first one's not bad. I don't think you'll be able to see, but inside the pipe there is quite a bit of buildup on both of the welds. I think that has to do with heat, but not being a welder, I don't really know. So I'm going to try and turn down my amperage, see if I could slow my travel speed without putting as much heat into it. We'll give that a shot next. It looks a little bit better. My travel speed's got to get a little bit more consistent, a little bit better, but the inside of the tube still has buildup, but not as bad. I don't know if I should come down with the amperage a little bit. You know, if I was a welder, I would know the answer to that question. But since I'm not, I have no idea. I think maybe on the next one, I'll try and turn the amperage down a little bit more. But for now, I'm going to let this part cool off. It's already starting to get pretty warm. And we'll come back and try something else, see what happens. Okay, we're back with round number 2. So I changed the machine down to about 60 amps. I would probably ignore my amperage setting. This machine has no adjustment other than amperage. And with AC welding, there's a lot more going on than just straight up amperage. A lot of times you'll see videos, people are running more like 120, 125 amps on aluminum. That's because they're making other adjustments to the machine than just a straight up amperage. So let's ignore my amperage setting, but I'm about 60 is what I'm gonna try right now. I also changed out to 16th inch filler, still the same ER5356, just smaller diameter. So less amp, smaller diameter filler. We'll give that a shot, see how it goes. Okay, that was too low of amperage, so I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. Basically, I wasn't really getting a puddle forming. I did melt some filler, but it kind of melted more on top of the material as opposed to melting into the material. So I'm gonna try and turn it up just a little bit. I'm trying to go as low as I can with the amperage to get a penetrating weld. What happened before, I think I mentioned it, I'm getting a lot of buildup on the inside of the tube, which could have been partly the filler rod. It could also be that I have the amperage too high. So what I'm gonna try to do right now is sneak up on the amperage. So starting low at about 60, I'm gonna go up until I get it where I have a little bit of pedal control still, so I'm not just matted down, but I'm not so hot that I'm pulling on the inside. That's what we're trying for anyway. Again, not a professional welder. That seemed to do okay. Maybe still a little bit cold, but I'm getting nothing inside the tube. So I think I'm actually pretty close. I'm gonna try and just go up a little bit more on the machine and see where that gets us. So that one did okay. You could see at the end, I started getting a pretty bad torch angle. Instead of having the torch nice and straight, I was kind of doing this. And towards the end is when I started to get a little bit of buildup inside. So I think I'm pretty close. Yeah, I think I'm pretty close. So I'm gonna actually try to, I'll try this last little spot here with the machine set the way it is. Try and have a better torch angle. And we'll see how that works. And then if I like that, then I'm gonna try and get a fresh setup, fresh tungsten grind and everything, and try and do a full piece. Not too shabby. I think my torch angle got a little bit wonky towards the end there. The inside looks okay. There's still more than I would like to see inside. I'm gonna get another piece, maybe turn the machine down just a touch. Fresh tungsten grind, I think that's kind of starting to hurt me now, and we'll see what that looks like. All right, here's my tungsten sharpener. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see, but this is a used up tungsten. Here's the sharpener, just Eastwood tungsten grinder, nothing too crazy. You can get real nutty with sharpeners. I mean, $600-700 for one of them. This thing's like 50 or 60 bucks or something like that. But you can see there's different indents in the top. Basically, you have two different size tungstens and two different angles for each size. So this is 3/32. This is like the shallower angle. This is the steeper angle. I'm going to try the shallow angle. That's what I was using before, so I'm going to stick with it, see how it goes. And there you go, ready to go. I did nip off the tip because I'm doing aluminum, so you don't really want a pointy tip necessarily. I didn't do that the last time I was trying, but we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. All right, well, I think that's enough practice. I'm only gonna get so good at this without just diving in and going for it. I don't wanna keep wasting material. Real quick, I'll show you. I did this piece, I don't know, 3 different seams. I did pretty much all the way around. Did a couple of spots like down here in the flat. Some of it's better than others. It's hard to know without knowing what the hell you're doing, what's making an improvement, what's not. I think I had the gist of it down. I got the machine set right a touch under 75 amps. That seems to give me the best result without getting too much buildup on the inside of the tube. I'm still, occasionally if I get the torch angle screwed up, I still get some buildup on the inside of the tube, but what are you gonna do about that? Obviously a professional would know what to do about that, but I have no idea what to do about that. I'm just gonna run with it. I'm gonna get some of these parts out here and start doing some actual welding on parts that are going on the car. I wish I was better at it, but. So this is the pipe that's coming from the intercooler kind of up into the engine bay. You can see it has these O-rings on it. These are part of the clamshell assembly that I got from Monkey Fab. Let me go in and grab the other pieces. I'll show you how it all kind of goes together. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of showing you my fit up. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. This side could have been a little bit better. But I'm not going to change it at this point. I fitted this up probably over a year ago. So I'm just going to kind of wipe everything down with some acetone, try and get the inside as clean as I can, and hope for the best. But let me grab these parts and I'll show you how these clamshells go together. Okay, these are 2 parts that don't actually go together. But here you can see the 2 pieces kind of together with the 2 O-rings. Then you have a ferrule, and then the actual clamp itself. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. Let me get this camera on a tripod and show you how it actually goes together. Okay, here's the whole assembly together. I tried to show you putting it together, but with it not being in the car, it's very difficult to wrestle the 2 pieces. Spent a bunch of time trying to get that, didn't really go. But anyway, you can see there's still some movement in the parts. A few degrees of articulation, which is nice. You also have some expansion and contraction. Not a ton, not as much as like a silicone joiner, but more than say a V-band clamp. So on my car, what I'm doing is I have a silicone joiner at the turbo going into the intercooler piping. I have a clamshell on the hot side of the intercooler. I have a clamshell on the cold side of the intercooler. Then when it gets up into the engine bay, there's a clamshell. And then another silicone joiner at the, ignore these welds, another silicone joiner at the throttle body. And where I have a silicone joiner, I have these billet aluminum parts. They're a lot thicker and they have a lip built into them. So you could really clamp down pretty good with the T-bolt clamp or whatever clamp you want to use. If you try and just go straight onto the 16 gauge aluminum tubing, you distort it pretty easily. So these things are pretty nice. I don't remember where I got them. Again, ignore those welds, they're terrible. Let's stop showing you. So to take these apart, it's real simple. Pull the pin, open up the clamp. Then you just have your ferrule and the 2 parts slide into it. And that's it. I put a little bit of WD on these. I'll probably run something a little bit better than WD when I put the car together. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some Vaseline or maybe some white lithium or something like that. They do go together much easier when they're lubed up a little bit. Trying to do them without anything on there is doable, but it's a real pain in the butt. This thing is real thin, so pushing on this edge to try and get it over, you'll just slice up your hands.